Hey everyone, what is going on? So we have more battles for you today, and we are in the Hoenn Cup. These are battles that I did, and this team did really well for me. So in the lead, we do have Metacham, and we have Sableye as a safe swap, best safe swap in the meta, and Reggie Steele. So yes, this team is ABA weak to Charm, but the only Charm user we have is Gardevoir, which we will look at. We do battle a Shadow Gardevoir in this video, but that's not really that common in my opinion, and even when you do see it, you still can get a shield with Sableye, so it's really not that threatening. So this is a really powerful team, but right now Reggie Steele on this Altaria, right? So I'm going to be able to charge up a lot of energy. Unfortunately, they get me on the CMP. Should have done maybe a little bit sooner, but that's okay. Now my opponent, if they really wanted to, they could flip switch, but I'm going to be able to throw this Focus Blast, and down it goes. So out comes Metacham. I do want to desperately get to an attack. Unfortunately, I'm not able to, but at least I have a Sableye with me, so I'm going to bring that in right now. I know I can take Ice Punch, Psychic, Power Punch, you name it. Dynamic Punch, I can take it. So Ice Punch going to not do too much. And I know there's a Walrein in the back, and of course Metacham does well against Walrein, right? So we're looking really good. Looks like just a hard counter towards my opponent. My opponent not even going to shield that. Going to go ahead and throw. If my opponent had shielded, I would have shielded this one, but no need to shield that, and I'm going to go for the farm. Out comes Walrein. I go ahead and throw this Foul Play. It's not really necessary, but I do go ahead and throw it, and that's totally fine. I'm going to be able to bring in my Metacham, and now I can go for the counter down and just take this win. I'm running Ice Punch and Psychic on Metacham, but Power Punch might be a little bit better instead of like the Ice Punch, but either way, that's okay. We're going to be able to take this game. That is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. By the way, we have exciting stuff coming to the channel. I can't wait for you all to see it. It's not ready yet, though. Moving on, we have a Pelipper. This is not a good matchup. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot out into my safe spot, my Sableye. My opponent stayed in because there's really not a hot answer to Sableye. I mean, unless if there's a Gardevoir hanging in the back, but they still have to shield even if there is. But my opponent actually brings in a Reggie Steele, and I'm almost at 2 foul plays. I'm going to be able to win this matchup. There's no way that Reggie Steele can lock on me down. So I'm going to be able to win this matchup, but I'm going to have my Reggie Steele on that Pelipper, which is ultimately what I want, right? So I do have to shield, but it totally is worth it. I'm going to go ahead and shield this one up right now. Going to be a Focus Plus as expected. I mean, that would have KO'd. Now, you know what? I think I could have farmed down, but I chickened out and I threw an attack. I really believe I could have farmed it down, but I got a little bit too nervous, so I do go ahead and throw the attack there. But that's fine. In comes Sableye, so they do have a Sableye as well. So it's a very similar team. My opponent's running Power Play instead of Metacham, but I'm going to be able to throw this Foul Play, picking up that shield. You love to see it. Now, I actually bring in my Metacham here because Metacham doesn't like Sableye as well as Pelipper. So I just want to take the energy from the Sableye. You know what I'm saying? I don't want the energy to be hit. I don't want my Reggie Steele to take that damage. My opponent's going to be able to throw another one. I'm going to be able to take it, and then I'm going to throw an Ice Punch and then pivot out into Reggie Steele after my Ice Punch. So I'm throwing the Ice Punch right now. Should I have buttoned the Reggie Steele instead of the Metacham? Perhaps, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and bring in this Reggie Steele right now. I still have to throw an attack. It's going to be very difficult to farm down, right? So yeah, I probably should have buttoned the Reggie Steele. Whatever, it's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Focus Blast right now. This is going to be enough to KO. Watching out for a catch. Obviously, I don't want them to catch on Pelipper. My opponent is going to go ahead and shield and then switch into Pelipper. Okay. So, very interesting switch there because one Zap Cannon will be enough to KO the Pelipper. Pelipper is going to be able to hit me with the Weather Ball. I'm going to charge up just before they can get to another attack. Throw my Zap Cannon. This is going to KO the Pelipper easy. It's double super effective damage. And in comes the Sableye. Maybe I can lock on down. My opponent going to be able to get off an attack, but it's not going to be able to KO me. So very nice. But I'm able to barely get to this Focus Blast. So this is actually a tough game. Yes, we had a bad lead, but we did win the secondary matchup. But it was still very difficult because 2 of my opponent's Pokemon really do well against Metacham. So good game. Let's move on to the next one. By the way, instead of Metacham, you can run Defense Deoxys in the lead instead. I think that might actually be a little bit better because then you're not going to struggle as much against Gardevoir should you see it, right? Okay, so in this situation, I do go into Reggie Steele because my opponent has a Dusclops out, and Dusclops is my hard answer. Sableye is my hard answer to Dusclops. That's why I brought in the Reggie Steele. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Zap Cannon right now. and it's going to get the debuff, which is what we needed to do in order to force the shield, because now I'm going to be able to make it to another attack. I can let this one go. It's going to be a power punch, of course. And you know what? I got to the Zap Cannon, but I didn't think I was going to, so I just clicked on the Focus Blast. And obviously Zap Cannon would have been better because we had a chance to debuff them, but that's okay. I'm going to bring in my Sableye and go for the farm down. And this is going to be Psychic. And guess what? My opponent is actually running a team that is triple weak to Sableye. You really cannot do that in this meta. You really can't. Because Sableye is just such the best. It's the best Pokemon out there. I'm going to go ahead and save it for the Dusclops. But you know what? That's okay. It's the first day of the Hoenn Cup, right? So nothing wrong with that. You're just trying out different things like that Dusclops. Dusclops obviously pretty spicy in this meta. So just trying out new things. Nothing wrong with that at all. So I'm going to farm that down. Out comes Dusclops. I'm going to be able to fire off these Psychic attacks. So this Psychic is going to do a good amount of damage. But we actually pick up the defense drought, which is pretty nice there. When my opponent switches out, the switch out makes sense because they want to reset the debuff. They don't want to be debuffed anymore, right? Before I throw another Psychic. But I will be able to throw another Psychic. They're not debuffed anymore, but it's still going to connect. And now I can bring in Sableye, and I have shields ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and shield up the Sableye. And I'm going to be able to farm down the Dusclops. So that is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. Very cool to see that Dusclops, though. So very cool there. Let's go ahead and move into the next one. We have a Wolverine from my opponent. Great matchup for me. My opponent going to switch into Swampert. Well, you know what? This is where Power Punch I feel like would be better. Well, Ice Punch still does a lot, I guess. A decent amount. But yeah, I mean, I have Registeel to handle that Wolverine. I don't have to switch out right now. I'm going to be able to shield this one up. It's going to be a Hydro Cannon just in case they had an Earthquake, or they probably do, but just in case they threw it. Now I know I could take one. I couldn't take two. So I'm going to go ahead and take this Hydro Cannon, and I'm going to be able to farm down. So what is going to come in? Is this the game I make? Oh, Deoxys comes in. Okay, so I think I make a mistake. Yeah, I make mistakes in these battles. I probably should have switched out right away. Well, if I went into Sableye, my opponent's switch time would not have been up, but it would have come up, and then they would have been able to bring in the Wolverine against my Sableye, and I would have had Registeel on the Deoxys. So I think staying in with the Dementia was actually fine. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. I'm going to be able to bring in my Sableye now. My opponent will be able to pivot out into Wolverine, but I have the Registeel. Of course, I do have to watch out for Earthquake. It is super effective, and my opponent is up a shield, so that is a little bit scary. But I'm going to be able to shield the first attack, which is going to be the Earthquake. So good shield by me. And I'm hoping for the debuff. Yes, it takes less energy for the Focus Blast, but I want the debuff. Unfortunately, I do not get the debuff, so that is actually unfortunate. So we're going to CMP tie again. My opponent will be able to land this one. It's going to be that Earthquake, of course, but as we know, I can survive it. From a non-shadow, I'm going to be able to throw this Zap Cannon right now. My opponent actually doesn't shield. I'm actually really surprised about that, because Sableye could win this one now. I mean, to be fair, like, even if they shielded and they got rid of my they threw an Icicle Spear, got rid of my Registeel, I would have been able to like farm down with Sableye, throw an attack against Deoxys, and win anyway. And my opponent actually made it close, because look at that, Thunderbolt almost KO'd. So maybe, that actually made sense, because they almost got to 2 Thunderbolts. They did get to 2 Thunderbolts, but they almost took that game there. So actually, that was actually a really good game. Alright, so here's the God of War. So I'm going to bring in my Sableye. Obviously, this is still not good, but with the Sableye, you should be able to always force a shield, because if they don't shield this is going to be enough to KO, and my opponent will shield that. So still a really bad situation, because when I bring in the Registeel, my opponent's going to switch out of the God of War, and my switch time is not up yet, and in comes a Medicham. So really, really not good for me, but we'll see what happens. We are up a shield. That's the good thing about Sableye against God of War, doing some pretty good damage there. My opponent going to go ahead and fire off an attack right now. I do let it go. This is what I want to do. I want to save the energy. I want to bring in my Medicham. I want to get 2 Ice Punch attacks. One to KO the God of War, the other one to get the shield. So that's my ultimate goal here. I'm just going to farm for days. I knew the switch time wasn't up. It's coming up, but it's not up quite yet. And unfortunately, it's up now, and the problem is I do not have 2 ice punches. I'm close to a second one, but I'm not there quite yet. And the problem is I am just taking these charm damage attacks, and I cannot take them, believe me. So I'm going to be able to throw this ice punch. The Medicham, I think, is going to come in, go for the countdown. My switch time is coming up. It is up now. I have to throw. I can't lock on down. I have to. I don't know. I have to hope there's... Even if it was a Pelipper, right? Even if it was a Pelipper. Actually, if it was a Pelipper, maybe I could have won. Maybe they wouldn't have been able to fall me down in time. But either way, good game. Well played. Tough one. Shadow God was going to be tough. That's why I mentioned maybe it would be better if Deoxys is in the lead. But good game nonetheless. So my opponent leads with that Credilli. They're going to switch into... I'll tell you, I'm going to switch into Registeel. Well, I mean, we're taking a lot here. But, you know, I am a steel type, so I am resisting all the moves. I'm going to go ahead and throw this Zap Cannon right now. And very nice. So now a Focus Blast should be enough to pick up the KO. My opponent is going to go ahead and throw an attack. It's going to be a Sky Attack. And I'm actually going to throw the Focus Blast, which is a mistake. I should have thrown the Zap Cannon because we have a chance of a debuff. And if they shield this, I'm not going to be able to make it to another Focus Blast. So yet another mistake. It might be a minor mistake, but it's still a mistake. And at the end of the day, that's fine. But my opponent actually switches into Credilli. So I was actually surprised about that. I guess, well, I mean, they knew they would be fun down, I guess. I'm going to be able to take this Grass Knot, no problem. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Psychic right now. So this Psychic is going to not KO, but one more counter. We'll pick up the knockout. That Altaria can come in. And I'm just going to let it throw this attack, and then I'm going to bring in Sableye and Fun down. And as I mentioned, Sableye really, I mean, does not hard lose. You could try Swallow, but which is double resistant to Shadow Clutch, but it really doesn't hard lose to anything. I'm going to be able to, especially up a shield. I mean, if they had Gardevoir, they would have won, I guess, maybe. But I had Energy, though, because I got it from Altaria, so maybe even in that case, maybe not. But either way, my Sableye is definitely going to be able to beat this Registeel here. Yeah, definitely use Sableye. It's definitely the best save swap in this meta. So yeah, at the end of the day, I did play. Yeah, I made mistakes, but it's okay. It's a new meta. Always make mistakes with this new meta, and we're still having a good time. We still did pretty well despite those mistakes. We still won a lot of those games, right? So not a big deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and move into the next battle. I believe the next battle is the final battle. I think this I remember this battle. This trainer, I believe I've shoutcasted for them in the past. Gonna get Shadow Registeel, great lead, but in comes Sableye. I can't bring in my own Sableye because they're ahead on energy now, so I'm gonna bring in Registeel. My opponent gonna go ahead and throw an attack. I think I do shield the first because the first will do the most damage, unless if I get it. Or I mean, I might not get a debuff, but if I get a debuff, the first one will do the most damage. But my opponent actually not shielded. We pick up that debuff. I'm gonna be able to block on down. My opponent able to make another move, unfortunately, but that is okay. I'm going to be able to take it. I can actually take another one. I think they make it. They do make it. My opponent does make it to another one. But again, I'm still going to be able to take it, and Registeel will be able to win this matchup. I'm going to have good alignment. And out comes Registeel. I'm going to go... Now, the reason... I could have thrown the Zap Cannon for the debuff. The reason I threw the Focus Blast is because I was like, well, if they go for the lock on down, I might be able to make it to another Focus Blast, and I'm barely able to. It looked like I had no HP, but I'm barely able to make it to another Focus Blast. And we get that second shield. You'll love to see it. So I'm going to bring in the Medicham right now. My opponent... Going to throw the Zap Cannon as expected. Love to see the Shadow Registeel, by the way. Really cool. That does a lot of damage to me, but I'm able to take it. I'm going to be able to throw the Psychic right now. And this Psychic is going to connect. Very nice. My opponent may be trying to catch on Altaria, but they don't catch. I'm going to throw the Psychic anyway. I'm debuffed, so I think I was debuffed, right? I think so. But either way, yeah, I think I was pretty much debuffed. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shield this and charge up to 2 moves. One to KO the Altaria, the other to KO the Registeel, and we're going to be able to take this one. So yeah, I have 2 foul plays right now. This foul play is going to be enough to KO. And then, the next foul play, we're definitely going to win CMP against the Shadow Registeel, and that's going to be a great game, very well played to my opponent. Yeah, I believe I've shoutcasted for this trainer before in the past, as I've mentioned. Thank you for sharing your battle experiences with us, as always. But these are my battles, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.